I was actually quite surprised because some of the people that ran cafes actually lost against some of the amateurs. Yesterday I took part in a coffee competition called the Brewers Cup here in Sakata City at a place called Peta Kohi, in a building called Nigoshitsu. It was a competition to see who can brew the best coffee. The format was really good. You're facing off against another brewer and you're both preparing 3 cups each for 3 different judges. One of the judges was the aforementioned Peta from Peta Coffee. And then there was Honma-san, who runs Coffee Island, which is another local cafe. And Honma-san actually, he won the best roaster competition in Japan, like maybe 3 or 4 years ago. So Honma-san knows his stuff, and actually Honma-san he's probably the reason why I got started in coffee anyway, because the Hario V60 that I used in the competition I bought at his shop, and by my calculation that was about 12 years ago. And so I have Honma-san to thank for getting me into coffee, especially Japanese coffee. And then the third judge was Izumi-san. I don't actually know what Izumi-san's credentials are, but she works at the place. So the place sells coffee, but they also sell pottery and stuff like that, and she works in the pottery part. But Kaede and Honma-san definitely know their stuff, and to make the competition fair they added a third person, which was Izumi-san. Originally there were meant to be 8 participants, but we actually had 9. Since we had 9 competitors, it meant that one person had to, if they were to win it, they would have to win 4 rounds instead of 3. And the competitors were like myself. I'm just an amateur. There were a few amateurs, and there were even some people that ran cafes. And I was actually quite surprised because some of the people that ran cafes actually lost against some of the amateurs. Essentially there's 3 rounds. In the first round we had 15 minutes to prepare 3 cups for each of the 3 judges, and you get to choose beans. So they have some beans there. There was a section of 3 that we could choose from. There were 2 different types of Colombian beans and one which was from Peru. If you win that round, you go on to the next round, and this was, instead of 15 minutes, you had 10 minutes. 10 minutes to prepare 3 cups, and using the same beans as before. But then it was the final round, and in the final round it was 20 minutes to prepare 3 cups, but using the beans of the judge's choice. And those beans were Brazil, and we didn't know what they were until the final. It was a competition for who could brew the best coffee, but it was also kind of like a competition for who had the best contraption, because there were a whole lot of different contraptions there. So I just had my basic Hario V60, and then one guy, man, he had it's called a Paragon brewer, and it's got like these little metal balls which I don't know, must freeze or something. Like I have no idea how it works, but this thing costs like $400 or $500, so you would expect that this guy knew what he was doing. And actually that was the person who I was up against in the first round, and spoiler alert, I didn't win. He won. I think it was 2-1 out of the 3 cups, but yeah, that Paragon thing must be pretty good. One person was able to get really good flavor out of the Colombia beans, and that actually won them a chance to get into the final. And yeah, and then in the final, she did a really good job. Her name is Kaede from a place called Kaede Coffee. She's a roaster as opposed to a brewer, but she obviously knows how to brew as well. And the brewer that she was using, yeah, it's called a Suiden. And it's kind of like it's a similar theory to the Hario V60, and I think it worked really well. And I was able to taste some of her coffee, and it was really good. And I was talking to one of her friends, and her friend said that actually she bought that Suiden thing like a few weeks back, kind of for the competition, and it cost her like $10, like 10 yen, 1,000 yen. just to get that. And then we also had this guy called Junichi, who was from Fukushima. He came all the way from Fukushima just to join this competition, and he was an amateur, but he knew his stuff. And I was thinking this guy's like the dark horse because he was wearing all black. But and he also just came out of nowhere. So yeah, and so in the end, so Kaede-san, she won, well deserved. She fought off that Junichi guy. That Junichi guy was like, yeah, as I said, like a dark horse, man. He was like no one knows what he's going to do, kind of thing. And then he managed to pull off some really good brews, apparently. But yeah, so since I had 15 minutes to pour, like I can do it in 5 minutes, and that's usually how long I take. So I spent some of my time waiting, but I probably should have just brewed it twice. Get some practice in. Like one of the girls there, she brewed 2 simultaneously to try and get the better one, and she still lost. She lost against the eventual winner, but she runs a coffee place, so I bet she's a bit annoyed about that. But yeah, I probably should have just maybe brewed 400 mils or 440 mils is usually how I do it, for 40 grams of coffee, and then like shared it around, because some people were like sharing around the coffee that they brewed as well. Oh, and I also must say that the person who I faced off against, he went out of time. He cupped his after the timer had gone off, so I probably should have won that, but I don't know. Right at the end, they had a prize giving, and they had 3 prizes, so first and second place, and then they had what was called the Izumi prize. So the Izumi, the judge, who I'm not sure what her credentials were, and then I got this prize in my life because I won that Izumi prize. So thanks, Izumi-san. Thanks for considering my coffee to be third, I guess. I'm not totally sure what to say, but she really liked it, so I'm really happy about that. And I got like a prize it had like bottles of what looked to be a little bit expensive shoyu, so soy sauce, and then mirin, so sweet sake, and also there was this little cup in there, like one of the ones that she sells at her store, besides the good cup of coffee that I get in the morning. I'm pretty happy somebody else thinks that it's worth drinking, I guess. So I did come away with the prize, but the certificate, actually, the 3 certificates were all the same. They all said the exact same thing. And so you could say that I also won. So definitely check out my video about how I brew coffee if you like. I made it like 5 years ago now, so it's a little bit outdated, but the principles are still the same. If you like coffee and coffee culture, come to rural Japan, because the people here, they really know their stuff. And there's a whole lot of different contraptions and stuff that you can I don't know, buy, test, have fun with, and enjoy coffee. If you want to be the first to get information like this, definitely subscribe to my newsletter. So it's mbunting.com/newsletter, and I write on Substack. So if you're on Substack, please join me as well. Ka kite no, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.